This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shasheena Rolle. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news, hundreds of mourners packed the sanctuary of First Baptist Church today to say a final farewell to a woman who has left her mark in education. The nation's leader was among those paying tribute to the former Deputy Director of Education, Sandra Edgecombe, the woman affectionately known as Mother Blue Jay, and a nation builder. Megan Shepard has the story.
It was a service of thanksgiving and praise for the life of a mother, wife, daughter, friend, veteran educator, former Deputy Director of Education, Sandra Edgecombe. She touched hundreds of lives with her words of encouragement, warm smile, and while teaching in the public school system. On Friday, some of those she impacted gathered to bid her a final farewell. While there were tears at her homegoing service, the atmosphere of one of celebration. Legendary Jay Mitchell performed a soulful song, offering words of encouragement to the family. Minister of Education, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, paying tribute to the former Deputy Director. He says he only knew Edgecombe for 3 years, but from her smile to her passion for education, he will miss her immensely. He says Edgecombe died empty, pouring her soul into building education and the community of Grand Bahama. Minister Fitzgerald recalling his final meeting with Edgecombe in New Providence and how they all laughed at Edgecombe's distinct way of speaking.
I can say this morning without fear of contradiction that I did not have a stronger supporter than Sandra Edgecombe. And that support and respect was mutual. I listened carefully to her advice and suggestions, and I valued her input.
Ministry of Tourism, the Honorable Obi Wolshcombe and MP for West Grand Bahama also paying tribute to Mother Blue Jay, calling her the highest form of a heroine for the impact she has made on past and future generations.
Sandra Edgecombe took her knowledge, took her belief, took her passion outside of the classroom. She took it into the communities. She took it into this country. She showed that there's nothing wrong with giving love, showing favor. She understood completely that you brought nothing into this world and you're going to take nothing out. She understood that if I give it all now, I can make this place a better place.
Many who knew Edgecombe and worked with her describe her death as a loss to the entire nation. Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Christie, says Edgecombe set a standard and an example when it came to education. He says her contribution and legacy will live on for generations to come.
She would have seen the children she was in charge of as her own child. She would have treated them as if they were her children. She would have seen their future as if she was looking at the future of her son. And that's the mark of excellence in the teaching profession.
Reverend Dr. Keith Russell delivering the eulogy for the late Sandra Edgecombe. He says that over the past few weeks, he has heard numerous testimonies about the life of Edgecombe, but questions if anyone knows what truly made her who she was. He says it is because she has accepted Jesus and was washed in the blood of the Lamb, and that is how she lived her life.
When her steps became slower and her body was a little weary, you know why she could still go to the podium and say, I feel good. It's a good day to be alive. The reason why she can find that, because the Bible says, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings.
By special request of the family, the Grand Bahama Youth Choir performed a special song. the question lingers, who's going to fill those shoes? Sandra Arlene Edgecombe died at the age of 58. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Well, in other news, U.S. media is reporting that Bahamian entertainer Johnny Kemp has died. 55-year-old Johnny Kemp, a native of Grand Bahama, is perhaps best known for his 1988 hit, Just Got Paid. Reports say Kemp died yesterday after falling and hitting his head while on the Tom Joyner morning cruise. However, there are conflicting reports that Kemp died after falling on rocks on the beach in Jamaica. He was reportedly planning to join the Tom Joyner cruise in Jamaica. Further details as to what exactly happened are still sketchy. We will bring you the details as soon as they become available. Switching gears now, coastal erosion in the Smiths Point community to be addressed. This environmental challenge has been at the forefront of the minds of residents for some time now. And last night they were told that a seawall is definitely on the agenda. Italia Hall has the story.
The Ministry for Grand Bahama, in conjunction with the Ministry of Works and Urban Development, hosting a town meeting at St. Jude's Anglican Church in the Smiths Point community last evening. One by one, residents called for an immediate resolution to the coastal erosion that has created a serious concern in that community. Minister for Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, outlined the process involved in the construction of a seawall for that community. Dr. Darville telling residents that the project is entering the final design stage.
We believe that the seawall is very important to stop the coastal erosion for Smith Point and can also be an economic engine for various types of other activities in Smith Point. So it's a good thing. We are committed to the construction of the seawall here in the Smith Point area. And the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works and Urban Development, we had a small town meeting here about a year and a half ago where we articulated very clearly to the residents of Smith Point that the government remains committed for this construction. I am pleased that we are in the advanced stages, and very shortly the residents of Smith Point will hear the final report that the seawall will be constructed and a contract will be awarded, and so we can get on with the construction.
Assistant Engineer with the Ministry of Works, Hudson Bannister, explains the options involved in the construction of a seawall in that coastal community.
Concepts that we're currently looking at is the possible concrete revetment. It's much like a fence-like structure, but it's made out of concrete. It's a design which allows for wave action to absorb all of the sediments and the seawater that can still pass through it, so the wave actions wouldn't actually beat up on the wall.
MP for the area, Peter Turnquest, was also in attendance.
Was included in the current budget, which will run out in a mere 2 months and a half. Based upon what I see, there's still a lot of work to be done in order to get to the stage where we can put a spade in the ground. And so I'm concerned that we're going to lose that budget for this fiscal year. And we are against a tight deadline. And also to put the engineers on notice that we will be expecting them to be very, very expeditious in the rest of the work, the preliminary work they need to do.
Turnquest thanked the Minister for Grand Bahama for hosting the meeting and for updating the residents on the progress made so far. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
The president of the Grand Bahama Port Authority meeting with the men of a local church. Ian Rolle was the featured speaker at a recent prayer breakfast at Freeport Bible Church. Rolle giving an informative talk on the role of the Port Authority and plans to move the economy forward. He also gave some insightful advice to those in attendance.
Abiding in God will ensure that we are able to discern what is presenting itself at our gates. We must be willing to seek God for direction, wisdom, and spiritual discernment. Without complete submission and obedience to God, our gates are wide open.
Church leaders expressed their appreciation to the port president for taking time out to speak with some of the men of the community.
Really push the integrity issue, which I think is very, very timely. And I think it speaks to a national challenge that we have with us leaders, even in the church, that we have to be good models so that we can say to the wider community we are examples that they can follow.
I think it's always a good thing to get people of influence, people that have the ability to empower and inform young men, especially in the city of the challenges and some of the things that are on the table, potentially for growth. So it's a good information forum. It's also a good platform where we could just exchange ideas and touch people that that really influence and shape policy in the city.
Stay with us, the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition will continue in a moment.